What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up UFC Undisputed 3 for RPCS3. Um, I'm going to first kind of jump in game and let you guys see how it performs, and then after that, I'll jump back out. I'll show you guys the settings. There are a few things I want to go over. This game is very tricky to get to work properly. There's a lot of like texture issues you might run into. So once I jump into the settings, I'm going to give you guys a more detailed kind of description of what's going to go into that. So obviously make sure you stick around. But I'll jump in game here for just a minute and let you guys kind of see how the game performs currently. And then I'm going to let it load up and do its thing. I'll return once it's finished. Alright, it's loading up now. And I'm going to turn the game down just a little bit. It's fairly loud. There we go. So first things first, I will obviously go over this right quick. This flickering of the words and stuff is the one issue I haven't been able to really fix yet. There's obviously some people that have done videos on this before and they don't really have this issue. I believe it's just an issue for myself. Most of you probably won't run into this, but it is something that I've been kind of dealing with. I don't really mind it. I don't consider it to be game breaking or anything, so I just let it do its thing. It only ever happens in like some of the menus and stuff, so it's not really something like, oh, like the game's gonna flicker constantly whenever you try and play. It's only in like certain menus, like in career mode or whenever it first loads up, but otherwise the game runs completely fine. So I'll jump into a quick exhibition here, let you guys see a little bit of gameplay, and then I'll run through all the settings for you after we're done.
Coming up next, it's a welterweight matchup between the owner of some of the most lethal kicks in the world, Thiago Alves, and Ultimate Fighter winner, Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz, set to enter the world-famous octagon once again.
Nate Diaz is a very accomplished submission artist, and he earned his way into the UFC by finishing all 4 of his fights in the Ultimate Fighter Season 5. Since then, he's put together some impressive victories and really improved his boxing.
Nate Diaz, ready to throw down and put on a show. Thiago Alves, making his way to the world-famous octagon.
Thiago Alves is a relentless striker. He's been training in Muay Thai since he was 15 years old and throws vicious combinations of punches and leg kicks. He's also a massive fighter for this weight class and often comes in with a significant weight advantage on the day of the fight.
Thiago Alves, fired up and ready to go. Tail of the Tape is brought to you by Boost Mobile. And now with our official introductions, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC welterweight division. Introducing first. Fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a boxer and jiu-jitsu fighter. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 170 pounds, 12.1 stone, fighting out of Stockton, California. He is a winner of the Ultimate Fighter, Nate Diaz. And now, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a mixed martial artist. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 170 pounds, 12.1 stone, fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, Tiago Pitbull Alves. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of this contest is Kevin Mulhall.
Kevin Mulhall, our referee. Mike Goldberg alongside my partner Joe Rogan. Round 1 is about to begin. Nate Diaz, Tiago Alves. Round 1 is underway. Joe, Nate Diaz quickly showed all of us that he was much more than just Nick's little brother.
Yeah, Nate Diaz is one of the most talented guys in the 155-pound division. Submission wins over guys like Kurt Pellegrino have just showed that, not only is he a good striker and a tough kid, but he's got some devastating submissions and really can pull things off in real tough situations. There's a bit of a cut here on Diaz, Mike.
Got the double underhooks. Looking for the takedown. Stuffed.
Oh, uppercut, he's down. I can't believe he got back to his feet, but he is hurt badly. Oh, big kick. Diaz really started to bleed now, Mike.
Oh, they're just throwing.
Oh, they're exchanging here.
Push kick.
Oh, head kick. Nice.
Big right hook, and now he's going to look for the finish.
Nice counter right, and he's down.
And again.
Oh, he's going for an armbar. That is a tight armbar. Oh,
And it's all over.
very nice.
Armbar victory. Tiago Alves with the victory.
And here we see, as soon as he gets those arms straightened out, he's got no choice but to tap there. Tremendous pressure on the elbow. Breaks that arm free, straightens it out, and forces the tap.
The veteran voice of the Octagon, Bruce Buffer, has the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Kevin Mulhall has called a stop to this contest at 2 minutes, 25 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by tap out due to an armbar, Tiago Pitbull Alves!
Tiago Alves, the victor.
All right, cool. So yeah, just a quick little gameplay for you guys. Like I said, the flickering and stuff is something that I've only ever really encountered just myself. I've watched a few people's videos and stuff that they have in some of their settings, and they don't really seem to have those issues, so I believe it's just an issue for myself. I've likely have something turned on or turned off that I should turn on or turn off, but I haven't really figured it out yet. So I wouldn't really be alarmed by it. If you guys also run into the same issue, I'll have to kind of dig in a little bit deeper and try and figure it out. But to get started in here with the settings, so there's a couple things in here that I do that I've found that work best for myself. There are a few things I'm going to mention that you guys could also try changing if you are having like stuttering in game, or audio's weird, or the textures for some of the characters are like off, which is a big issue that you run into a lot with this game, is that the textures will become fuzzy or like just weird looking overall. So here's my settings for CPU. What you're going to do though first of all, before I even do this, to do so, to make a custom config, you're going to right click on here and you're going to click on the button. I don't have it because I've made the custom config, but you're going to click on the button that says create custom configuration from default settings, I believe is what it says. That's what you're going to use to make the config first of all. Once you do that, then you're going to want to set all of these how it is. So recompiler is set for PPU and SPU. Those have not changed. Approximate Xfloat is what's used for SPU. I do have enable SPU loop detection on. Preferred SPU threads, I have it on 2. For a little while I was dealing with some stuttering in game, so I had to set this. I found that either 1 or 2 normally works best. 2 is kind of what I found to work for myself, but if you are dealing with stuttering, you can try setting these to a bigger or smaller number. The smaller number typically is the best of it, but some people can run into adverse performance when they have the number 1 set. If you're not having an issue with stuttering, I would leave it actually set to auto first. When you first try and set your settings up, leave it on auto and then go from there. Do that. For GPU, a lot of my settings are the same as what I normally use for GPU. Anisotropic filters on 16x. You don't have to do this. I just do it just to make the game look a little bit better. Z-calls relaxed. Shader quality, I have it on high. You can put it on ultra if you want. It really doesn't matter. Anti-aliasing is just on auto. Frame limits on 60, of course. I leave the default resolution on 1280 by 720 because I was having the flickering of the textures. If you want to set it on 1920 by 1080, you can, but I did it that way because I was trying to kind of figure out what was going on. I do have the resolution scale set to 1920 by 1080, and then the resolution scale threshold, I have it set on 95 by 95. This is similar to the last video, the most updated one I did for Fight Night Champion. I had to set it to a little bit of a higher value because setting it lower was causing texture bugs, like their arms would be like a Vanta black color, or the hair would be very purpley and weird looking. This you typically only have to change if you do upscale the game. And for games like UFC Undisputed 3 and Fight Night Champion that have those issues where the textures don't load right, you do have to change this back and forth. If you leave it on default for the resolution scale and it's on the 1280 by 720, you shouldn't actually have this problem, and you can just leave it on 16 by 16, which is the default for resolution scale. But in my case, I upscale it to 1920 by 1080, so I do have to change the resolution scale threshold. If you are still dealing with some of this stuff, obviously you're going to have right color buffers on. I don't have multi-threaded RSX or asynchronous texture streaming on. I know I had that on for Fight Night Champion. If you want to turn on multi-threaded RSX, you can. I have it turned off. I haven't really found a difference between using it and not using it in this game in particular, so I don't have it on. If you want to use it and you have a high core processor, something that's like a 8 cores, 16 threads, use it. It might give you a little bit better performance. If you have a lower threaded processor, you cannot use this setting. I don't think I've ever explained that in my past videos, but this is only when you have a high core processor. Like the recommended processors for RPCS3 is an 8 core 16 thread like an i7 or a newer Ryzen or like an i9. For like an i5 that's a 4 core 8 thread, you're not going to be able to use this. It's going to cause slowdown. It's not going to make the game run properly. So keep that in mind if you do turn this on. For our audio, all the audio is the same as what it's always is for default. I haven't had any audio issues with this. I am going to circle back to the audio here in a second. If you guys are having stuttering with the audio, I know of a couple ways you can fix that, so I will come back to that because I get a lot of comments about people sometimes having audio issues, but the game runs fine, so I'll cover that here in a minute. But I'm going to go and get through the rest of this quickly for everybody else that doesn't need to know that. All this stuff, the I/O system, network, all that stuff is the same. In advanced, so I have on read color buffers and handle RSX memory tiling. These two are on, so these are read color buffers is recommended. whenever you set up the game anyways. I have handle RS6 memory tiling on to help with corrupt graphics. So as I was just explaining about having the weird textures, this literal setting is to help fix corrupt graphics whenever you have read color buffers on. If you don't have this on, you'll likely have issues with your graphics, or the game just won't load, period. I did have a period where I didn't have this turned on and my game literally wouldn't start. So make sure those two are on if you do use it. Down here in RSX FIFO accuracy, I have this set as ordered and atomic. This has helped mainly to fix some of the stuttering, not stuttering, sorry, but some of the flickering I had with the textures. When I set it to ordered and atomic, it really kind of probably got like 80 to 85% of it away, like it got rid of it. There's obviously still some, but for people that don't have a higher chord processor, you might not want to use this setting in particular. You might want to just set it to say atomic. Fast is what it's going to be set to begin with. Atomic will help the stability of the game. So if you're dealing with a lot of crashes and stuff too, try setting it to atomic. And it should help you some. It doesn't really cause any performance penalty. When you set it to ordered and atomic, unless your computer can handle it, you might run into problems doing it on a lower core processor. So keep that in mind too when doing so. Everything else down here is the same. Driver wake up, V blank, all that good stuff is all the same. I think these are all default as well. Clock scale and everything like that. Emulator, there's nothing in here that I have set, so there's that. To circle back now to the audio. If you're having audio settings, there's a few things you can do. So if you're having like stuttering really bad with the audio and you have it set to QB, try changing it to X audio too. So try setting it to X audio. You can try disabling the buffering alone. For each setting that you change when you have issues, keep in mind that you're going to want to do it step by step. So if you change something to try and help with like your settings being weird, only do it one at a time, because you could potentially change 7 different settings and it can cause a whole different like issue. So you're going to have to change that to just doing it one by one. Yeah, so by doing everything one by one, you kind of eliminate the possibility of you turning things on or turning things off that you don't need to. So I would always make sure you do that. For the audio settings though, if you say enable buffering, you turn it off, you can also try time stretching. It can cause like crackling or like stuttering with the audio, but if you're having stuttering already, you can potentially enable time stretching and raise the threshold up or down to where it will actually even out the audio and it won't stutter anymore. So even if you are having crackling or stuttering and stuff like that, it can actually help you. Now, with that being said too, back here in CPU, the SPU loop detection and the SPU threads, so these actually like go hand in hand with audio too. So if you're having stuttering audio and nothing in the audio settings are working, if you don't have enable SPU loop detection on, make sure you turn it on. And then if you have the SPU thread set to auto, try setting it to like 1 or 2. Now, SPU loop detection can cause stuttering, as it obviously says literally in the description too. But if you're having the stuttering and it's not on, try turning it on. If you're dealing with stuttering and it's turned on, try turning it off. So it's like you got to kind of flip back and forth between the two and see what works best. But if it's currently on, you're having stuttering and nothing in the audio settings work, turn it off and then try changing your SPU threads to maybe 1 or 3 or something if it's currently set on 2, or just try and change it, one by one and test in game and see which one works the best. But those two do also kind of have a play in the audio and how it sounds. So like I said, if none of those settings in here work for you, and you're still having issues, I would go back to CPU and I would try changing some of these a little bit and see what you get. Let's see. And then otherwise, if you do turn on multi-threaded RSX, you may want to turn on accurate RSX reservation access. They kind of work hand in hand pretty much, and it'll be able to help your performance some if you are having performance issues and you have a higher core processor and you do turn it on. So I would make sure to use those two together if you do use it. Trying to think if there's anything else that you guys might need to know. I've done a lot of testing on here, so it's probably a month or so in the making, and there's some things I might be forgetting. I believe that's everything though. In game, when you go into career mode, too, once you create a fighter, you'll probably have texture issues with the fighter, like with their eyes or their face. All you have to do to fix that, by the way, is just go in and go to, say, the eye color and just go down one to a different color, and it'll change the texture and it will work. One more tip too, don't ever delete your cache on here. So whenever you load up in game, and I'll show you guys right now, this cache that loads right here, not this is the PPUs. It'll tell you in just a second. But when you're dealing with right here, SPU cache, this number is always going to grow almost every time you use RPCS3. The SPU cache is what's going to help you with like textures and stuff and buggy textures. So the RPCS3 essentially tries to fix itself whenever it has bad or corrupted textures. All it takes a lot of the times is literally a close and a restart to fix corrupted or bad textures. That's all it normally takes. And when you do that, you'll notice whenever you load the game up again, that SPU cache will grow again. It might go up by 1 or 2 or 3, but like it was at like 6203 last week, and now it's at 6419. It's constantly working to fix things in game. Sometimes you don't have to change any of the settings to fix things. All it normally takes is just a restart too. So keep that in mind as well. Whenever you have issues, just try resetting the game. You know, if you run into a big texture bug and you can't see something in the menus, just close the game out, wait a second, reload it. You might come back in the game and it'll be fixed by itself. Sometimes it doesn't require you to actually change any of the settings. So wanted to let you guys know that as well. In career mode, there's some bugs sometimes with the fighters when you first start too, like in the menus when you're on your fight screens. Just ignore those. Like I said, just close out the game, restart it if it bugs you a lot. The game, RPCS3 should fix it itself. It should be able to work, so you shouldn't have any issues with that. But otherwise, I think that's everything to cover. So yeah, thank you guys again for watching. See you guys next time.